The story takes place in Grand Isle and New Orleans during the late 19th century. Edna is the protagonist of the story. She is a very talented woman who loves to paint, but who unfortunately ends up having a bipolar attitude. At the beginning of the story, she is very reserved, proper, and prim. As the story progresses, she starts turning into a careless, determined, and self-centered woman. Mr. Pontellier is Edna's husband. He is very wealthy and popular among their society. Although he is a caring and respectful husband, he is also very demanding and controlling. He likes to keep everything in order and views his wife as his property. Madame Ratignolle is one of Edna's closest friends. She is also Edna's foil. Unlike Edna, Madame Ratignolle is very motherly. She is fully devoted to her family and loves to watch after her children. Robert is a charming and respectful gentleman who likes to flirt around with married women, that is, until he falls in love with Edna. But due to his high morals, however, he is unwilling to have an affair with Edna and decides to flee to Mexico. Mademoiselle Rice is a remarkably skilled pianist who becomes a close friend of Edna's. She's a very careless woman, and people think of her as odd and rude due to her lack of fashion and husband. She was the one who kept Edna informed of Robert through his letters and who inspired Edna to have hope in life. Alce Arobin is Edna's second lover, whom, although it's not too good looking, has a playboy reputation. He is highly skilled when it comes to seducing women and is the guy whom Edna has what she calls her first true real kiss. The book begins with the introduction of the main characters and Edna's unhappy and boring marriage. Edna and her family soon end up vacationing at Grand Isle for the summer, where she meets Robert. Edna and Robert become very intimate friends, and Robert soon discovers that he is falling in love with Edna. Robert decides to leave to Mexico in an attempt to forget about Edna. Soon after Robert leaves, Edna starts feeling very lonely, but the awakening passion set by Robert still remains within her. Edna returns to her house in New Orleans, where she begins to unfold the passions she feels within her and pursues her interest in painting. She soon meets Alce Arobin, whom awakens her lust for sex and independence. Edna moves into a house of her own and soon learns that Robert has returned. Edna and Robert confess their love to each other, but are soon interrupted by an emergency which requires for Edna to leave. Soon after Edna comes back, she finds a letter from Robert and leaves her heartbroken. Edna returns to Grand Isle, where she decides to swim far out into the sea until she eventually drowns. The turning point of this story is when Edna starts taking over her own life and pursues independence while having an affair with Alce Arobin. Outcomes: Edna drowns and dies. Robert ends up alone. Mr. Pontellier ends up without a wife.
Created using Powtoon.